Hey folks, welcome to late night edition of the Mediocre Cover Band Guitar Guy. Wasn't really going to post a video for a while. I was going to take a break because I feel like I've been bombarding people with stuff, especially rants, but kind of had one that's been a little bit under my skin the last few days, and I wanted to say something about it. So, just a little bit ago, um, I was on the NL Gear Guitar page, and usually there's a lot of cool shit on there. But this one time, a guy, like a lot of us do sometimes, went looking for advice on a guitar issue. And he was having some feedback issues with his guitar. And he would turn the volume on, and even at low gain, he was getting like a high pitched squeal. So this happened to me once, and it wasn't because of the guitar, it was actually a power tube in my amp was sort of sketching out. So I had to have it replaced, and well, I had all my tubes done. Anyway, I was going to type that in, and before I could actually get it done, two comments came up, almost identical, but the first one really got to me. It was a person, and their comment was, "You should have just saved up and bought a more expensive guitar, more high end." And I thought that was like rude. Basically, when you say shit like that, what you are saying is you're too poor to own a guitar, in my opinion. And I don't know if that matters to anybody, but it does to me because it's my opinion. So anyway, thought about it, and as I was thinking about it, like it seemed more and more rude. And I thought to myself, like, that's great. Like, if you can have high end gear, because you got a great job and you can afford it, and that's your payoff because you're working hard. More power to you. Be proud of that shit. That's great. But if you're under one of the three following categories, and this is your scenario, number one, you're 24 years old, your dad's got a lot of money, and he's buying you $4,000 guitars and $500 pedals because you want to sound like John Mayer and Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then you post videos saying, "This is my John Mayer inspired lick." Obviously, that didn't work. If you want to sound like John Mayer, then you need to be John Mayer, because that's the only way you're going to do it. You're going to need to go to Berkeley, and you're going to need to be very creative and artsy fartsy, and you're going to need to practice probably 14 hours a day. If you want to be Stevie Ray Vaughan, God rest his soul, you're going to need to do the same thing, and you're going to need a set of mitts on you like a catcher's glove, so you can play those 13s as hard and fast as he did. It was crazy. Say what you will about his playing, he was fierce. So that's the only way that's going to happen. And then when you realize that you're not John Mayer, you sell your shit all the time. It's going on. Or the other scenario is you're a 60-year-old man whose dad's a millionaire, and he's buying you equipment because you can't hold down a fucking job. That's great. I wish my dad could do it. He's not going to do it. He did it when I was younger. He bought me some cool guitars as I progressed a little bit. I had some cool Ibanez's back in the day and a really cool Strat. But he's not going to do that now. He's 83, and he doesn't even fucking like rock and roll, so he's not going to buy me guitars. Sorry, Dad. Love you to pieces, man. The other scenario is that you're 24 years old, 25 years old, whatever, 21, I think, going to university, and you're spending your student loans on guitars. Good for you. You're going to pay that back, or we're going to pay that back for you, whatever happens, I don't know. But a lot of us aren't in that boat. I had a lot of high-end gear once upon a time, and it all fell victim to the great divorce virus that went around my life in 2012, and I had to sell shit off because of that. Where was I? Oh, yeah. But anyway, and it was all great. I had to get rid of it. I don't really have anything of high-end value anymore. But doesn't mean my shit is garbage. So this is why I took offense to it. And I don't want to sound cliche about things, but for me and for a lot of people, these things are tools. They're like same as a hammer, to some people. It's great if you can collect things. Some guys have investments and, you know, plans to sell it all when they're like 60 years old so they can retire. And if you've got all that, that's great. No one can begrudge you that. I mean, that's your stuff. It's your, you know, you worked hard to get it, and you deserve it, and you deserve to do with it whatever you're going to do with it. You know, that's the bottom line. There's no making fun of it or whatever. And if you feel comfortable to drag a $4,000 guitar into a bar, where some guy's probably going to get drunk and fall into it or throw a beer bottle in it, and you're willing to take that risk, you got more balls than I do. I took a $2,000 SG into a club and it got knocked over, and I wanted to cry. But luckily nothing happened to it. But still, that was a lot of money to me. But you don't have to have really expensive guitars to play music, or to play at home, play in your bedroom, play in a bar. Now you need something that's good. You can't have, you know, a harmony from Sears back in the 80s that won't stay in tune, or something that had like string for, you know, like actual shoelace string for strings. You got to have something that stays in tune, something that sounds great. So, and one of the reasons I'm playing this right now here, well, because it's one of the guitars that's been featured in a lot of videos I've done. I got this guitar for $600 used. It was in great shape. It came with an awesome case. The only thing is there's like a couple little scratches right here. And I actually tried to sell this last week, and I had a guy message me. He was ready to come up the weekend and buy it, and then he messaged me this morning and said that his missus told him he wasn't allowed to have the money to buy it. Sorry, dude. But this guitar is built like a tank. It's got a great neck. It plays really well. Grover tuners on it. It's got a Seymour Duncan 59, or geez, I keep getting that wrong. It's got a Seymour Duncan JB and a 59 in it. The bridge is cool. Thing stays in tune, which is odd for you know, 3 on a side. Headstocks. The G string goes every now and then, but I just had new ones. I just put new strings on, and it seems to be working out pretty good for me. But I paid $600 for it. I've gigged it a couple times, and I actually had some compliments on the sound, which was really great. But while we're on the topic of inexpensive guitars and things of that nature, we'll go to this guy. And just use the squeaky stool. And before time, probably too close to the drum kit to keep hitting it. This guitar. Now these weren't overly expensive. I bought one of these things. It's a 5120. I bought one of these things probably in 2010. I went into Reed's Music to buy a pack of strings in Mount Pearl, Reed's in Mount Pearl, and I walked out with one of these, and it was just over $1,000. It was just under $1,100, literally just under at the time, and I happened to have that amount of money on me. I had a little bit more, obviously. I didn't exactly have the correct change because that would have been freaky. But I bought it home. This is not the guitar, by the way. I bought it home. I played it. I liked it. I played it on clean stuff. I didn't use it in the band format in which I was playing at the time because I found, being hollow body, I was getting feedback. Our other guitar player comes in with a custom built Telecaster that he built. I'm a sucker for Teles, really. And we did a trade right there and then. And I didn't regret it so much as missing the guitar, because I got a great Telecaster out. It had a 5-way selector switch, which was different. And one of the positions was out of phase. So you could get like that sort of Jimi Hendrix sound, which is really cool for a Telecaster. And unfortunately that one fell victim to the great virus of 2012. But missing the guitar, my partner knew that I missed the guitar, so on my 41st birthday, just before my 41st birthday, she went on the hunt for a new one for me. Went online and through our drummer found a guy who was selling this one. And it came with a really cool 60s Gretsch case. It's beat to shit, but it's awesome. It's purple. Purple velour or something or whatever inside. It's pretty cool, carpeted, whatever. Looks nice, tacky as shit, but looks rockabilly as hell. I haven't had too many problems with this guitar. It fights you when you're trying to play it, obviously feedback and stuff like that. But man, this thing got some growl to it. The only thing that's not stock on it anymore is I had a graphite nut put in. Didn't get the bone because playing in a cover band and playing this guitar every night we played for 3 hours. I needed something that was going to stay in tune, and I use the Bigsby a lot, believe it or not, and I don't want the strings to get bound up in the nut. So that sounds funny to say. I had the graphite installed, but this is not an expensive guitar. It was under $1,000 to buy used with the case, and it's played a shit ton of gigs. I had it set up earlier this past summer, and the guy set it up told me it's going to need a fret job soon. And that's another thing. If you're getting like your guitar set up, anybody who knows how to set up a guitar properly is going to do the same job as all the guys with the hype. So don't be afraid to go to your guitar shop if they've got like a competent person in the back. Don't be afraid to go to the guitar shops and drop it off and get it done, because sometimes they go the extra mile on your guitar and clean it up and polish it up and do everything, and it comes back way better than when you sent it up. I know Vic from Long McQuaid has set up several of my guitars now, and they always come back beautiful. But this guitar was under $1,000. This is where I'm going. It's got a lot of growl to it. It cleans up really well. It plays, like, the versatility on this thing is crazy. Obviously, fret access is a bit of a problem, and you don't have as many frets as you would on a Les Paul or an Ibanez or something shreddy. But it gets me where I'm going, and I really love this guitar. When I die, which was probably going to be like 22.5 years according to the national average for a man in Canada, it's either going in the ground or getting cremated with me. I don't know what they're going to do with the Bigsby and shit, but it's all, no one's getting it. It's going with me. It's just, that's it, right? Anybody wants it, they can go fuck themselves, because it's going with me. So take it easy on people who don't have $6,000 guitars. That's the nature of the beast. You know, you wouldn't go out and go into a parking lot and look at somebody who's got a 2012 fucking Honda Civic and say, why don't you have a new one? Are you too poor? Because you're going to get a smack in the mouth. And that's the worst thing about social media. Nobody gets punched in the face anymore. We all just argue until we unfriend somebody. In the old days, you unfriended them by knocking them the fuck out, and that's it. So that's my rant. If you're going to pick on somebody's gear, another thing, at least have the chops to back it up, okay? I'm not saying I got it or whatever, but like I would never go on and tell somebody they need to buy a real guitar. And I've seen that about like 6 or 7 years ago. A friend of ours, everybody who watches these videos, had posted a picture of his rig, and a middle-aged, cocky, immature, man-child asshole comes back and says, you need to get a new amp. Your amp is not very good or something. Anyway, he was ragging on the guy's amp. Like I said, we work hard to get our gear. We're all proud of our stuff, and sometimes this is what works for us. This is what makes it all happen. So take it easy on people's gear. If you got a cheap guitar, love it. Prince didn't play an expensive guitar, and you know what? He's a better guitar player than you are. He was a better guitar player. Sorry, Prince. R.I.P. Slash had those Deering copies, Les Paul copies, in the beginning of for the Appetite for Destruction sessions. They weren't even real Les Pauls. And do you want to know what? Slash is a better guitar player than you too. So put that in your pipe and smoke on it. That's it for me, guys. I'm probably going to go to bed now because it's late and old people should be in bed. So if you're watching this, pick up your cheapest guitar and give it some love, hey?